for joining us today for CDR's Student Lounge presentation, The Professional Development Portfolio, Setting the Stage for Career Success. Today we are joined by Amanda Sofel. She works as a DTR at the University of Kansas Health System, and she's also an active member on the exam panel, the Competency Assurance Panel, also known as CAP, and the Commission on Dietetic Registration. Amanda, with that, I will turn it over to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Samantha. All right. So just for getting started here, we'll kind of first talk about the roles. So the role of both the RD and the DTR. So the role of the RD is to be the food and nutrition expert who can translate the science of nutrition into practical solutions for healthy living. And then the dietetic technician registered is to be educated at the technical level of dietetics practice for the delivery of safe, culturally competent, quality food and nutrition services. So even though both credentials have different roles, the expectation is that both will maintain the standards of practice and code of ethics. And if at any point throughout your career or education now you have any questions about the standards of practice or code of ethics, those can always be found at the Academy website. All right, so to maintain those standards of practice and code of ethics, we use CPEs. What exactly is continuing professional education, or CPEs? Continuing professional education helps practitioners maintain and enhance the knowledge, skills, and experiences related to professional activities following the completion of your formal training and education. Research has found that those CPEs are optimized when individual practitioners are able to identify the knowledge, skills, and abilities needed for professional competence, use appropriate educational methods, and then develop strategies to implement and apply new knowledge, skills, and abilities to the professional practice. So CDR uses all of these principles when developing the PDP, or professional development portfolio. Really is all about identifying those knowledge, skills, and abilities for you individual, and we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that. All right. So now that we know what CP is, we should discuss why it is so important. So the biggest commitment to CDR is its commitment to protect the public. And to do that, you first do all of your requirements to become an RD or DTR. So complete your Ascend training or approved training, and then sit down for those exams. But we need to ensure that the entire time you're credentialed, you are still upholding that commitment. And through that commitment, we are ensuring that as you continue to learn and develop, you're still enhancing the health of patients and clients, and then you're always delivering quality products, programs, and services, which includes M&T. So then, as mentioned in slide 1, all practitioners must maintain the standards of practice and uphold the code of ethics to help ensure that they are truly protecting the public versus those non-credentialed practitioners, that we all know exist out in the world. So within the code of ethics, it specifically states that the dietetics practitioner assumes a lifelong responsibility for personal competence in practice, consistent with accepted professional standards, continually striving to increase professional knowledge and skills and apply them to practice. So that just means that you're, continually trying to learn, stay, upbeat with the latest, trends and best practices, making sure that you are, whatever services you're offering, you are keeping, the idea of protecting the public and doing the correct thing at the time. All right, so what is CDR's professional development portfolio? The Commission on Dietetic Registration constructed the PDP process to support your lifelong learning and continuing professional competence. The PDP not only supports lifelong learning, but it provides practitioners with the tools to analyze circumstances, requirements, and essential practice competencies within their profession, create and apply an individualized continuing education activity, and evaluate the success of using knowledge, skills, and abilities in professional life practice. So the big emphasis here is that the PDP is, designed for you in mind to help you as a practitioner make sure that you're able to have those CPEs that will benefit your individual practice, whether it be clinical, management, whatever you choose to go into. We want to make sure that you have the tools to look at all those CPEs and really, analyze and evaluate if they're the right for you. All right. So the learning plan that is right now it's the Goal Wizard. You'll go in through the Goal Wizard and will help you develop your individual learning plan. And then from there, after you walk through all of the questions, it builds you a personalized competency profile. From there, it's a personalized learning plan, and you get these spheres that go out into competencies and professional indicators that are developed by the Goal Wizard for you individually based off of how you answered the questions from the Goal Wizard. Over the course of 5 years, as you complete your PDP, to recertify, if you're an RD, you have to complete 75 CPEs and 50 for DTR. There are a lot of different forms of CPEs that can be completed. CDR always has the PDP guide on their website that kind of go into the different activity types. So if you ever have any questions about if a CPE that you completed qualifies, or how many hours of that particular type of CPE can have, or if what you did is approved under CDR's guidelines, you can always find that at CDR's website under that PDP guide. It's really useful. Kind of always double check in there. You never want to necessarily assume that something will work for your PDP. It's always better to go double check and make sure. It's also really important to remember that one of your hours, whether it be your 75 for RD or 50 for DTRs, must include an ethics credit. So generally those are going to be CPEs that are related back to the Code of Ethics. And then practitioners are required to log their CPEs on their activity log. And then at the end of your 5-year cycle, this log is submitted to CDR for final review. You don't have to wait your entire 5 years. If you get, your 75 or 50 hours done in 3 years, you can always submit it early, get it approved, and then you don't have to worry about it. You can also do a midpoint review. So, after you have at least half of your hours, you can submit that to CDR just to make sure you're on the right track. All of your CBEs are going to be approved. You don't have to have any questions. It's just kind of nice for peace of mind to make sure that you're on the track that you thought you were and you don't need to change anything or get any more CPEs. But it is really important to remember that you do actually have to submit that log at the end of 5 years to be recertified. All right. So not only does the PDP help you maintain competence, the standards of practice, and the Code of Ethics, but it also can add value to your career. The competencies on your learning plan can be used to demonstrate your competence through employees, through your resume and interviews. So after you've gone in through and done your goal wizard and had those competencies, pop out based off of your answers, you can pull some of those for your actual resume as you're going through to apply for jobs or looking for jobs. And it can also be a good, interview talking point, to say how you already have some of those competencies or how you prepare to build upon them for the future. Employers also are using competencies to design job descriptions. So this can help you, focus on qualifications, skills, attributes, and specialties needed to be considered qualified. So that's definitely something, as you go through, you can look, at job descriptions and make sure that, if they're pulling from the PDP, that you're also kind of pulling for that from your talking points again for your interview, something to kind of talk about. There are also a lot of employers using the PDP to kind of differentiate on like career ladders based, from an entry level to a more experienced practitioner. So making sure you're kind of pulling from that and updating your resume throughout your career. So you can always kind of be ready for those next steps as well. And then the PDP can be used as a specific or broad as you'd like. So it can definitely help you navigate your professional growth. So it's right after school, your first job you get is in management, but you want to eventually go to clinical or vice versa. You can, when you're answering those questions in Goal Wizard, it will ask you about your future career aspirations. And you can make sure that you're pulling in those competencies, maybe not for the section of your career you're in right now, but what you want to be in the next 5 years. And that way you're still selecting CPEs to be ready for that transition to a different part of your career. Okay. So right now, as a student, what can you do to prepare for your PDP? I would say right now, make sure that you're starting to think about the process and how it can help you set up for your goals to succeed and get that first job. And then also kind of think about how the PDP can help you, like I said, grow in the next 5 years. Because maybe if the first job you have is the job you have and not the job you want, definitely be ready to use the PDP to kind of pull in more competencies, more education to be moving forward. But also just kind of make sure you're thinking about the PDP process and you're ready for it. I would definitely say as soon as you take that test, get registered, and get that email from CDR that you need to set up your PDP, you go in and you do it with your Goal Wizard. A, it will help you through your job search. But B, you don't want to be, 4.5 years into your cycle and realize you never did your PDP. If you want to be getting credit for all the CPEs that you're doing, you have to have your PDP turned in. Any CPE that you want to include on your plan, you only have 120 days from when that CPE was completed to put it into your PDP or to build your PDP. So it's really important that you're kind of thinking about it now, you're ready. Like I said, once you are registered, to kind of get that process started. And so it's there and available to help you grow through your job. You can also kind of start to be thinking about building your network. So talking to other RDs, DTRs, about how they've handled doing the PDP, any, issues they've had or things that they found that work. Just kind of having that network of people you can ask questions to. And then also make sure that you're getting active in your local professional community. That way that's a really good way to find out about, CPEs that are offered and that kind of stuff. So just making sure that you're kind of starting to build that and you're getting that experienced people already in the profession. And the best way to kind of build your community is to start volunteering now as a student for the academy at local, state, and national levels. You never know where a volunteer opportunity will take you. I did a volunteer opportunity for CDR at FNCE a few years ago, and through that experience, the people I met are the ones who nominated me for my position on CDR now. So, right now as a student, really getting in there to build your network, not only so you're learning more about, expectations, but, you're just kind of starting to be involved and you're ready to be an active credentialed practitioner. All right, and kind of backing up here, who and what is CDR exactly, and what is the difference between when you hear, CDR versus the academy? So CDR, or the Commission on Dietetic Registration, is the credentialing agency for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, but they operate as separate entities. So CDR is the one who is responsible for upholding and maintaining the credential, and they do that by offering both the RD and DTR entry-level practice exams, and then also the other specialty credentials that they offer. And since they offer those exams, they are the ones who offer the official exam study guide. CDR also offers the Obesity and Weight Management Certificate of Training. And they're doing all of these different things. That is how CDR validates your credential to employers and the public. Versus the academy is there to oversee, membership to the actual academy, but they aren't overseeing your individual credential. And then any state licensure that you are required to have is maintained by your state of residence. So any CPEs or other entry-level qualifications for your state licensure is all set by your state. All right, so that kind of wraps up our discussion about the PDP. Please join CDR at the CDR Forum session, Understanding and Leveraging Trends in Dietetics Practice to Advance the Profession, on October 18th from 2:30 to 3:30. If you have any more questions, CDR Service Center is open in the exhibit hall Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday from 9:30 to 5:15. And if you're not able to go to that, or you just have any additional questions now or in the future, never hesitate to email cdr@eatright.org.
Amanda, thank you so much for joining today. And again, like Amanda said, if you have any additional questions, CDR can always be reached at cdr@eatright.org. Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.